are now going to lighten it up quite a lot. I'm absolutely delighted because I have two guests in the studio who were actually part of my very first official programme.
Good morning, Sharon.
Good morning. So how about that? I mean, just amazing. It would have been the 11th of November. It was Remembrance Sunday. You both came in and we were once again looking at, obviously, issues of around the Army and the armed forces. And as I've said, this weekend has been Armed Forces Day, particularly Saturday, but also going on throughout the weekend. And you've both come in to talk about the memorial garden, beautiful memorial garden that you set up over in Holmbury St Mary. And this is really in honour, in particular, of the Queen's Regiment, but also, of course, of all troops who have fought no matter when or where. So it's an absolute pleasure to have you with us tomorrow.
Thank you very much indeed, Sharon. It's lovely to see you again.
Now,
a long time.
It has been a long time. Now, as I say, it was, November that you came in. Mm-hmm. You've done an incredible amount of work on the garden itself since then, I know. You've had a lot of events going on there as well.
Yes, we have, yes.
I wonder if you'd like to take us through a bit of that story.
Well, can I introduce Debbie? This is my right-hand lady that
yes.
really does most of the work apart from the physical stuff. So for the introduction to the developments, I'll let Debbie start speaking. Yeah. Debbie, hand it over to you.
Yeah. Good morning, Sharon. Ooh. Lovely to be back with you again. Yes, it's a year on, and it's been an absolutely amazing year for the Queen's Regiment Memorial Woodland, which opened officially on the 1st of June last year. I'm pleased to say we've had a steady flow of visitors, not just from Surrey, from all over the country. Yeah. And they always write in our visitors book, which we're delighted to see. Donations have come in, and just to give you a little bit of an idea, we've had wood chippings for the pathways, which we didn't have before, from two people, local companies, Mr. Mark Liebus and Philip Goddard. We've had telegraph poles, which we're lining the pathways with, given to us by Openreach. We've had a solid oak bench, which has been handmade and donated to us by one of the Queensmen, ex-Queensmen. A monolith, if people know what a monolith is, and it's dedicated to the Queen's Regiment, and that's been made by an ex-Queensman himself, a gentleman called Frank Beard. We've had money which has been given to us specifically to purchase garden tools by Queen's Buff members, and we've had many plants and lots of support from friends around us. Fundraising events have been so well supported. I'll just tell you about a couple of those. Last September we put on a musical event. It actually took place in the recreational club in Westfield in Woking. We had lots of youngsters and older people gave up their Sunday afternoon to come and sing and entertain us, and we raised £800 in 4 hours.
Gosh,
which was quite amazing.
That is amazing, isn't it? Wow, well done.
At Easter we held an Easter egg hunt in the Woodland, and we were so thrilled to see lots of local children who also came, and they learnt about the flora and fauna around the woodland, because we put notices on the benches and on the trees, as well as managing to find a few Easter eggs. And we raised £300 that day. We've recently been to Bagshot, where they closed the village and had a street party to celebrate VE Day. Mm-hmm. And we raised £140 there. And then we had another musical event, because it was so fantastic last time, on the 31st of May. This time we called it Stars in Their Eyes. And we had, again, lots of people came to sing. There is an amazing chap called Peter Storm, who does an Elvis impression. He has actually won awards in the States as well. And so he came, gave his time to us free of charge. We raised £958 in 4 hours, which was made up to £1,000 by one of the club members.
Goodness me.
So we've had an amazing time.
It's been a good year.
It certainly sounds like it. I mean, I know in November when you came in, okay, you've been going for quite a few months, and yes, you'd had odd bits of donations, but you were saying how much work needed to be done, looking for volunteers in particular to help with that. And yet it sounds like you've achieved pretty much everything that you set out to do at that time.
Actually, we have. But we have had help from the soldiers themselves. I mean, it hasn't just been us, 'cause, we wouldn't be able to manage it. We've had a steady flow of helpers that have turned up, odd times of the week and everything, and they just ask, "What do you want us to do?" So we've had them weeding and digging and slitting logs.
Yeah.
And laying paths. It's been amazing.
Yeah.
But it's all been sort of steady progress. Now, when you walk around the wood and you just listen and see, and it's incredible. It really is an incredible place. The benches have been all painted and sort of refurbished, so they're now ready for the year that's coming. What else has happened? The bird boxes, we've had the birds in and out of there now, and it's just a beautiful place to still look. But with all the events that Debbie was speaking about, we still, our main aim is to give our information out, to tell people where we are, what we do and what we are about. It's all right raising money, but the thing is why are we raising the money? And it's to help those soldiers out there or their families that need it. And what we want now, which is what we'll be pushing in the next year, is to inform people just who we are and what we are. There's no red tape. No, we'll talk to you, and if you need help, then we're there for you. And that's what our charity really is about. With pride, we give back respect, and that's what we stand by.
That was one thing that really struck me when you came in November, the fact that, your hearts are so much in this project. It is about giving to the community, and that, as you say, it's not about red tape. So any ex-serviceman in need can come to you, and as far as you are able, you will offer help, the most appropriate sort of help. So if I'm right, that could be some money towards some food, or it could be some food, or, whatever you feel is appropriate to help them move forward.
It's not just financial. I mean, whatever the problem might be, I'm sure that we'll find an answer for them. But I must stress, it's not about somebody coming up to us and asking for a new fridge. We won't sort of throw the money away that people have been so kind to donate. So, I mean, we will look at it, and we do speak together. And so I want everybody to sort of know that and have faith and confidence that their money is being donated properly to the right people.
Yeah.
But it's the kindness. It's unbelievable when Debbie and I, at the end of every event that we go to, every person that just hands over a small donation. But when we go back and we look at the bank statements, or we're putting money into the bank, because none of the trustees, no one takes money out, and this is what we tell everybody at the meetings. Their donation completely goes into the charity. But when we go back there, it's like the events of the musical, and we count up what the generous people have done. And it's just humbling, it really is. And we march down to the bank and we hand it all in, and I'll tell you, there's such a smile on our faces because we know we're doing it for the right reason. So that's the raising of the funds. But my side is really the garden. That's what I love, and that's what I'm all about. I try and get people to come down there. Debbie, bless her heart, is the backbone of all the organisation that goes behind it. So whatever she speaks about in this broadcast, it's actually all down to Debbie. I plant flowers. I cut the branches.
But the place has to look nice and be maintained, so it is important that job's done as well, of course. And you haven't done it just haphazardly either. It's taken an awful lot of hard work on both of your parts to get this together, and you are to be admired for all the work that you've put into it and the dedication, really.
Well, the thanks that I say to people that I meet and in the different British legions is that don't thank me and let me tell you how nice it is. Go and visit it. Come and visit. As soon as you walk through the entrance, you'll see that's a little piece of heaven that's dropped down in Holmwood St Mary, and it really is. The birds seem to be all congregated around. We have the local pheasant that runs up to be fed. And it's just like a little baby that's running up, and she knows exactly where I'm going to go and get food, and and put it down for her, and it's just lovely. And if you sit down and contemplate and reflect, we've got woodpeckers that just fly about, and they'll feed off the numerous bird feeders that we've got, and the tree creepers, and it's just so beautiful. And it really is a lovely place.
Yeah, sounds like a piece of paradise, as you say, really.
And we welcome picnics as well. I mean, people, hopefully, of course, they'll take away the rubbish.
Yes, yes.
But there are picnic tables there, and if people want to come down with their families and just sit in one of the many benches, they certainly can sort of just enjoy the day.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
So let's get down to the nitty-gritty of the exact address, shall we? So that people know exactly where to come.
I'll hand that over to you, Debbie.
So, looking for the postcode on the piece of paper, they've got it all here. They are actually very well organised with all sorts of bits of paper and information. But as usual, I ask the question, and it's the one thing that isn't quite to hand just at that moment. It always happens. It always happens. But again, this project has been going for a year, but the planning behind it has been a lot longer than that. Obviously,
they're 2.5 years to find. That's how long it took to find. And then when I found it, it took a year just for me working there, trying to clear the area. And then another sort of year on top of that with several friends. And then I had to get serious help. So it's 2.5 years to create. But then that's just a basic creation. But then there's always development that has to be done. We can now sort of, I think, safely say it's stable for disabled people to be able to move around safely, and including the elderly that might want to sit down every few yards. There will be a bench. There is a bench that they can rest before they start the next part of the journey. But it's still a beautiful place to walk around.
I'm sure it is. And also, although you say, okay, you've been open a year, 2.5 years prior to that, you were looking for the area, starting to get it prepared. When do you think you first had this kind of feeling of this was really what you wanted to do? Was that a couple of years prior to that even?
No, like I say, I've been looking for the place for 2.5 years, different locations. But as soon as I stood in front of this mess, and it really was, although my apologies to the councils, an area of natural beauty, where I was standing certainly wasn't. It was a car park where people used to visit, but they used to throw their rubbish over into the site that I was developing or wished to. But as soon as I stood there, I knew this was the place, and that's it. And then that just encouraged me to even go further. And today, it is 90% what I dreamt it would be.
That's amazing,
and it really
isn't
is
it?
Beautiful.
There's not many people who can say that they have actually brought their dream into reality and really, stuck with it as well, because it is a lot of hard work. So, brilliant.
Well, I can honestly say that sometimes I go there in the morning and I sit there and do nothing.
Yeah.
Because it actually makes me feel better. I just sit there and I look around and I listen, and I think, well, I don't really want to do anything today, and I'll just sit there. Next day I'll have to work harder.
But then indeed that was part of the plan of setting this up to be a garden where people could go to sit and
That's right.
use it for contemplation. Psychologically it's being proven now how important it is for us to spend time in nature, isn't it? And reconnect really. And so why shouldn't you be allowed to do that then?
Well, I call it I've now sort of developed this idea of the soldier's surgery, where he must be in the environment that he's comfortable in, not four walls and given a load of pills. So when I sit there and I think, it's making me feel better and happier. Yeah. Just looking around, it doesn't matter whether I've worked all day and I'm in pain and aching. The fact of just sitting there at the end, and I just look around, and it's always a different view. I'm sitting at a different bench and look at a different view. But I want the guys that do visit us. We've had loads of soldiers, but if they come, whether they tell me they've got a problem or they feel like it, but as long as one of those has gone home feeling so much better than when he arrived. And of course his family feel better because he's happy, and the children, of course. And that's part of the soldier's surgery, the garden of reflection. You know, it's there to help, but not just the soldiers. Anybody that wants to come and reflect, it's open to everyone.
Lovely. So it's like a real sanctuary, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
It really is.
yeah.
The more people that come, the better it is for me, because obviously then I feel like it's working.
Yes.
And I will never think it will let people down. Never. Because I still get that buzz as soon as I walk through those gates, the entrance. I just have a different feeling. And I'm so proud of walking round, and the feelings inside. It's heartwarming. It really is. But I just hope that everybody that visits feels the same.
Yeah.
Because that's really the important thing, not just me.
Yeah.
It's how others feel.
Well, as you can see, although obviously listeners can't, as you're talking about it, I've got a big grin on my face because I'm feeling this excitement and this passion for it. And as you're describing it, you know, it just sounds so wonderful. So we go back to Debbie. Have you got... Yeah, Debbie's going to give us the full address with postcode and everything so that we can find...
Yeah, we would love people to come and visit us. I'll give you the full address. It's the Queen's Memorial Garden, or we've changed the name recently, actually, because it is a woodland. So we call it now the Queen's Regiment Memorial Woodland for Fallen Soldiers. And it's in Pasture Wood Road in Holmbury St Mary, which is about 5 miles outside of Dorking, and the postcode is RH5 6LG. We would just love people to come. We're open 365 days of the year. If we're not there, people are welcome to walk around, have a picnic, sit, talk, reflect, whatever they would like to do. And any time of the year is a good time to come. In the autumn, you've got the most amazing fungi. I've some of them I've never seen the like of in my life, the colours of them. In the springtime, we've now got daffodils at the entrance. Bluebells now, twice as many this year as we had last year since we've opened up some of the canopy. Absolutely beautiful. This month we've got the wild foxgloves, which we didn't have last year at the entrance. There's only one disappointment for us. Last year...
I know what she's going to say now.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, it's very sad because last year we were brought back by an ex-Queensman 140,000 Flanders poppy seeds.
I remember you talking about this.
We sowed them, and last summer they were absolutely beautiful. And not one has come up again this year.
Oh, wow. Do you think that is that the sort of thing that might...
We don't
However,
know.
another year?
And if any of your listeners could advise us, we'd be very grateful.
Oh, yes, please. If anyone knows about poppies, do they come up one year and then disappear and then come up again?
Because not one
Let's hope
has come.
So. Oh, no.
Yet your personal poppies have come up.
Gosh.
At home, and I took some of the seeds from the garden last year, and I've put them in my own garden at home, and they're all in flower now.
Wow.
So it's mysterious. It's
is,
very
isn't
strange.
It? Yes, especially if they were the same bat.
But then the other side of it, I saw something yesterday that I'd never seen before, and that was a true woodland orchid.
Ooh. And
I've taken a photograph of that and I put it on our Facebook page. So if anybody would like to join our Facebook page, join Queen's Memorial Garden. Is our Facebook page, and I put on pictures regularly of flowers and so forth. I know, Sharon, you've seen it, haven't you?
I certainly have. I do check in every now and again.
Yes,
I do indeed, and it has been lovely to see the different seasons.
So visitors come and go onto the Facebook and have a look and see. Go onto our website, which is www.queensmemorialgarden.co.uk.
queensmemorialgarden.co.uk. So you've obviously got the address, directions, everything on there. Do you want to just give the full address once more?
Yes, the full address is Pasture Wood Road, Holmbury St Mary, Dorking, Surrey, and that is RH5 6LG.
Brilliant. Now, if I remember rightly, I could be wrong, you said last year when you were here that you go down quite a narrow lane to the car park.
Yes.
That's a dead end, yeah? Or...
No, you can.
Oh, okay.
You know, the narrow lane, which is Pasturewood Road, actually. You come into Holmbury St Mary Village, and you'd go past the church if you were coming from Abinger-Hammer, say. And the church is on the right-hand side. Very large church, beautiful church in Holmbury St Mary, which is also worth a visit. Turn left just after the church into Pasturewood Road, and about 300 yards down that lane, it is a lane really, Pasturewood Road, is the car park. And the garden is open there. It's easy to see.
Excellent. Okay.
And you can get out, you can carry on further along to Pasturewood Road and go into Dorking that way.
Right. Oh, okay. Right. Now, you mentioned at the beginning that, you know, you've got pathways and things, so it is accessible for people in
and
wheelchairs,
yes.
any
They're wood
disabilities,
chipping.
etc.
Yeah.
That is absolutely brilliant. And is it very far from the car park to the entrance? It's literally
out
there.
of the car, step out of the car and you're
And
at
in
the
you
entrance.
go.
Yeah.
And I do seem to remember that you said in November that you were setting up a kind of tea shop. Is that running?
Right, yes, it is. We've got a cabin there. Obviously, it's only available for refreshments when Paul or I are there.
Yes.
So we do try and be there most days if we can, between 10 and 2. It's if Paul's not feeling very well, perhaps we might not be down there, because I don't know if you know, Sharon, but obviously Paul is not too well himself. So
yeah, no, I mean, when you said it earlier on that you're open 365 days a year, I'm thinking, goodness me.
Yeah.
Because if it is mainly
But
just the
not
two of you,
necessarily
then
for refreshments.
no.
Always.
Okay. So it's advisable that if you're wanting to spend some time there, that you do bring something with you.
Yeah, because there are lots of picnic benches.
Yeah.
So lovely for people to have a picnic. And there are some really nice pubs in the area as well.
Okay. So even more to entice you down there, as well as the church to have a look at just round the corner. And I'm going to stress this, you mentioned it at the beginning, but please, 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 if you do take your own picnics, make sure that you take all your own rubbish and bits and pieces home with you. Please don't leave anything around, because these lovely people have worked so hard. They do it all from heart. They're certainly not paid to do it. It's their own time, their own effort goes into it, and it is in order to show respect to the countryside as well as this amazing project that you know, I feel I shouldn't have to say it, but I do want to say, please do make sure you take any rubbish or anything's back home with you.
It's very kind, Sharon. Thank you.
So basically people can go at any time. So is the gate sometimes locked or not? No,
always open.
Always open. Yeah. Okay. So you can go any time, spend as long as you want there, really?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
fantastic.
It's just a beautiful open space that they can enjoy.
Yeah.
But I would advise people to walk more than once around, because you'll never see everything the first time. Walk back the other way. There's different paths that take you into different directions, and the thing is the wildlife and fauna there, it's totally different. That's the beauty of the garden. There's so much that's developed. I hope that's the right word. That the garden, the woodland, it's actually better than what I thought it could possibly be. We have grasses, we have weeds that are attractive, and like Debbie mentioned, the fungi. But you have to take a different direction, because whatever you see might be behind you.
Yes.
So people can spend, or at least an hour there, just enjoying different views and different sights. It's not large, so you will not overtire yourselves. It's probably just over an acre.
Okay, that's a fair amount.
It's an enjoyable acre.
Yeah.
With, like I say, different aspects to the woodland and the gardening area that you can see. We even have our own magic tree there. I won't say any more about it, but it's an incredible tree which I've never seen. The man from the forestry
Woodland
has never seen it before either.
Goodness.
But there is a sign there with some information that people can read and see the tree above their heads.
Yeah.
And then if anybody has any information on that, I'll be pleased to hear.
Yeah.
So it's been an exciting
fascinating.
year. Yes, it was uncomfortable.
Do you get people go around tree hugging, by the way?
Not that we've noticed.
Oh, I better get down there and start it off then. Something I quite like to do, actually.
Well, please feel free.
There you go. So if you see someone with their arms wrapped around one of the trees, you know it's probably me.
There are signs. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
We do have signs up that people try to keep to the paths.
Sure,
Because
yes.
obviously the wildlife and the fauna are all around the garden, which we try to sort of maintain. So you might be looking left and there'll be a fungi or a flower or a plant or even a weed that might be attractive to others as well as myself. So for the protection of the woodland, we do try to ask. But there are trees close to the park that you can hug.
You can at least reach out and touch them, maybe. Yeah,
You can.
No, it is an important point, joking aside, isn't it? That obviously this is, you've turned it really into a nature reserve as well, haven't you? And you mentioned kind of earlier that children come round as well. Do you have school visits and things like that?
We
or
haven't
not,
done yet.
not
The
as
plan
much?
is obviously when we had the Easter egg hunt, there were a lot of children, and that was really lovely to see. And we made the Easter egg hunt informative. They had to answer questions. They had to go and find something in the woodland that was nature related, and bring back the right answer before they could collect an egg. But we have got one local school that have said they'd like to bring children down, so we're hoping that's something that will happen in the future. It would be really a nice thing, I think, for them to do, wouldn't it? To not just learn about the nature, but also our history.
Yes, indeed.
Recent history,
Yes.
the reason for the Memorial Garden.
Yeah, which was actually very timely, what I was about to come on to, because, it wouldn't be there unless you had a purpose, which is, of course, I can't say in aid of the soldiers, but it is to help and to remind people of what has happened and so on.
remember them,
Yeah, and
Yes.
It is for the soldier. That's all it is. When I say soldier, I hope people forgive me, because this is really for servicemen and women. We call it soldier because I was a soldier. But this is for all servicemen and women, from the Navy to the Air Force. We all have our problems, and if they wish to visit the garden, because it is for them. And when you walk in the entrance, you will see the monument is dedicated to all three services. And it's only dedicated by the regiment and by myself, but it's in aid of all the services. So we look forward to. We do have Air Force personnel that have come down to see us, but we like them all. We like them all, and it is open to them as well.
Yeah. But I think it is important to reiterate that, because although it's great to have these projects with schools and things, hopefully coming into fruition later on, the actual original reason for the garden existing was for servicemen to be able to have a kind of safe haven to go to, and also, of course, with raising funds that you're able to help them in other ways as well. So, yes, it is important to remain true to that, isn't it?
It is. With the development of the woodland and garden, where the children come in, I'd like to say we now have the telegraph poles. Now, when we've split those and made the paths, as far as I'm concerned, more safe, so there's not an item where a little child can trip over. So the safety aspect of it is important first. So when we've done that and we've looked around and we're thinking, okay, we've made it as safe as possible, we can then approach schools and the teachers and say, please come and visit, see the information that we've got around reference to the regiments and the history, and also the wildlife, the plants that are there, and see if it's acceptable for your school and the condition of it as well. So when we do have the paths completed, which might take some time because that's real hard work, then we can approach the schools and let them possibly bring the children. But the children will love it. They did on Easter Day. There was hundreds of them
sure. Yes.
screaming and shouting, running riot.
And in a nature reserve, I hate to use the phrase "you kill two birds with one stone," but in essence, you would. You're showing them nature, but you're also introducing them to some of our military history as well.
That's right.
So, yeah.
Part of the whole exercise is to sort of educate anyone that's non-service personnel, so they know what we went through and what their fathers and grandfathers went through. The horrors should never be forgotten.
Exactly.
Okay,
yeah.
and the people that are missing their fathers and grandfathers can just come and reflect. They might even read about them on one of the posters and signs that we have, and we'll talk to them if they so wish, and we'll even find out information if they ask. We're there for any aspect of their request. So we'll help anybody in any way that we can, but we just want them to enjoy the garden, really. But the whole year, I mean, like I say, my forte, if that's what it might be, is the garden. But the events that have been going on throughout the year is incredible, and the support we've had. But again, this is all down to Debbie's hard work. I come home and I'm tired. Debbie comes home and starts work again, and works through the night. And I mean, just to sort of end our year, we just had 4 servicemen, ex-Queensmen, walk from the Tower of London,
They
wasn't
walked
it?
from the Tower of London to the garden.
Right.
And raised money. That's a long way
Yes.
for elderly gentlemen, shall I say. Sorry, fellas. But
Slightly more mature people, yeah.
and they raised £165, I believe.
No, 550.
Sorry, that's a little bit more than what I thought.
Yeah, excellent.
That was the hog roaster ropes, that one.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. And then during the speech that I had, they handed over this large wad of money to me. And said, "This is for your charity." That's when it wells up, the pride and how I feel about the whole thing. But all of us do. You've got 2 trustees here, but there's 2 other trustees out there that work just as hard, and they're friends that help them to help us. You know, we have a lot of money that's put into the charity behind the scenes. You know, and a lot of these people don't get recognised, and it's lovely when I stand up, and I'm not a very good speaker, believe it or not, and I give a speech, and for me it's important that everyone realises that there are other people out there. I don't do the garden, I do little bits, but the guys that come and help me out, and the ladies of course, and the people that support us behind the scenes, you know, they're all there, but I want people to know. So it's not just your cash that you're donating to the charity, which everything goes into the account. Everyone's capable of looking at it, and we have open books. But all the money goes into it. We want to give it to those people, like I said earlier. But there are people behind the scenes, as in every event and everything we try to achieve. It's not just the man that stands up in front of the camera or on the radio. So,
it's very true, isn't it? And it's lovely that you are acknowledging them here, because without them, nothing would happen, would it? Really?
That's right.
Obviously, we do need the kind of leader people who can deal with the logistics, get the ball rolling, and make sure the right people are in the right place at the right time. But without those other people, not much happens for sure. Now, have you got any events, well, certainly over this weekend, so Armed Forces Day, obviously, I would imagine you've got things going on.
That's right, yes. We've just had, last weekend actually, on the 20th of June, it was a pub called The Plough in Red Hill. The landlord there, very, very keen charity supporter, and he had a charity day, and he raised money for 3 different charities, our charity being one of them, and he handed us £600 at the end of the day,
Marvellous.
which was absolutely great. Paul and I feel very, very honoured. We've obviously been recognised for the work we've been doing and for the garden, its just existence, because we were invited to the cathedral service on Armed Forces Day at Guildford
Fantastic.
Cathedral.
Wow.
And obviously Stoke Park in the afternoon for the grand reunion.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I was going to say, has the council recognised also the work that you've done?
Yes. Well, again, we wouldn't have been invited to the
No,
cathedral
exactly, yeah.
because that was organised by Guildford Council.
Yes. Yes.
And then with regard to events, we've got 4th of July. We've been invited to attend another small charity called Wheels for Troops, and it's the British Legion Bikers, and they've invited us to attend with them in Redhill Memorial Park to take our stand along. And it's a case again of our leaflets, our information leaflets, just getting out there, getting people to know we exist, get them to come along and see us. We're going to War and Peace, which is in Folkestone. That is a huge event, over 5 days actually.
Oh, God.
And that's at the end of July. We've been invited to have our stand there again this year. We were there last year. And then we've got some little local events that local people, which is just as important, Albury Fair and Peaslake Fair. We've been invited to take our stand along to be there. And again, it's to let people know that we exist.
Yeah. That, however, is quite hard work as well, isn't it?
It is, yeah, it can be, but it's also rewarding.
Yes. Well,
We actually went to a fair a little while ago, run by an ex-Queensman, Rodney Dell.
The VE Day
VE
celebration.
Day, and we took 250 leaflets. It's only a small sort of fair. We run out.
goodness.
We had so many
Yeah.
people coming up to stand, asking for information, just stand there, just generally talking.
Yeah.
But the leaflets were going out left, right, and centre. We was busy the whole day, shot past.
Yeah.
Yet when we went for a walk around, when we had time, all the other places seemed to be empty.
Gosh.
And it was just lovely that maybe our stall was in the right place, but just for the
Even if
The
it is,
interest,
it's
the
got to
excitement.
have something to it to draw people, hasn't it? And I'm noticing that you're wearing a Queen's Memorial Garden T-shirt.
Yes, we do have merchandise for sale.
Right.
What we do is we test them and just to make sure they're up to quality. But this was last year's merchandise, and what we're going to do this year is look for a different type of design.
Okay, yeah.
To go on our merchandise so that we can sell
Yeah.
at the garden and at different events that
Yeah.
we take part
Well, I
in.
think if anybody out there actually can provide good quality screen printed T-shirts,
No,
we'd be pleased to know,
Okay, so
because that's what we're looking
embroidered,
for.
or
Yeah.
embroidered.
And embroidered ones as well. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
In
brilliant.
fact, it's anybody that has something that they think we would be interested in raising money for our charity, because all we do is raise it by the £2, £3 by the cost,
Sure.
and then
yeah.
that money goes into charity.
Yeah.
No, like I said before, no one takes anything out, but we do not overcharge, the people that are buying it, and generously. So as long as it pays for the item and puts £1 in the charity box, that's all
Which
we
is what
charge.
everybody would expect anyway, so that's normal. And of course, if people are willing to provide T-shirts and so on, who knows? Because you would, of course, recognise the fact that they had done so, just as you
Of
have
course.
with all of these events that you've mentioned that have taken place.
Yes.
You've mentioned all the kind donors and so on and so forth. So, just fantastic. I mean, I just love these kind of what I call grassroots community projects that get so many people together, that prove that actually you might as well turn off your telly and stop reading the newspapers, because the truth is people are 99.9% of them are really nice, really caring, want to get together, want to share, want to, help each other. And so projects like yours are a shining example of that, I think.
Well, we had a chap who comes and helps us occasionally, and he's not a very fit man himself, but he knows that we needed to do a little bit of woodland management, and he turned up with his chainsaw and was there at 7:30 on Tuesday morning, wasn't he?
Goodness.
There before we got there, and had already
Yeah.
done nearly an hour's work, I think it was,
Gosh.
before we got there.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're always grateful for people to come along, give us some advice about what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a pond, for instance, that really does need an overhaul,
Mm-hmm.
and we would be grateful for some advice about that, wouldn't we?
It starts next week. So, be quick, please.
So there you go. Anyone who's got any advice on a pond, do get in touch. Either you can message Radio Woking on facebook.com/Radio Woking. You can email us studio@radiowoking.co.uk, or you can send a Twitter @Radio Woking, or you can go to the Queen's Memorial Garden Facebook page. Can you just repeat? That's what they look for, isn't it?
The Queen's Memorial Garden on Facebook.
Yeah.
And email, they could always email Debbie Hornblow @yahoo.co.uk.
Debbie Hornblow @yahoo.co.uk, or send a private message through the Facebook page, or even perhaps put a post on there as to let you know.
Absolutely.
So there you go, volunteers being looked for who know about ponds and can help clean it up a bit. Fantastic. Let's hope you get some response. That would be good, wouldn't it?
We'll let you know, Sharon. We will. Honestly, we will.
Yeah, that would be good fun. Right. So looking further into the summer, have you got other projects or events going on in the garden itself?
In the garden itself, actually, we did think about having an afternoon tea party, didn't we?
We have, but we're waiting on the weather for that.
Yeah.
Oh dear, yes.
As you can imagine.
Yeah,
we
the
can't
English
guarantee it.
summer isn't always, no, you just don't know, do you?
But apart from that, the garden, no, that's open for visitors.
Yeah.
You will see us working, different soldiers doing their part, but it's still open for people to walk around. And if the visitors wish to help, then by all means come down. So the garden at the moment will be sort of work in in progress. But outside, we're always busy because Debbie makes sure of that.
Yes,
And we've got several events which I'm sure she's just about to mention.
Well, as I said, we're going to War and Peace again. That's the 22nd to the 26th of July down in Folkestone. We're going to the Peaslake Fair, the Albury Fair, Wheels for Troops, as I said, in Redhill on the 4th of July. And I'm sure there's other things coming up. I know that one of ex-Queensman phoned me last week, Rodney Dell again, saying that he's doing something with one of the local garden centres. He's an entertainer, and I think he's having a day there where he's singing. And he said, would we go along to that? So there are things coming on every week, actually.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So again, those will all be on the Facebook page anyway, won't they?
They will. Yes, always advertised on the Facebook page.
Approach
Radio Woking, the view from here. Yes, certainly. Let me know, and I will find out for you as well. That'd be great. So, I mean, it sounds like this is just constant new ideas, fresh ideas coming up.
It is,
I know that sort of doing the public relations side of it,
Yes.
getting out there takes an incredible amount of time and energy, doesn't
Takes
it?
a lot of time, but that has to be a priority,
Yes,
because if you don't do that, you could easily be forgotten. And our main aim really for next year, we have two main aims for this next 12 months. The priority is to complete our application to become fully registered. It's a very protracted exercise. We've got a legal advisor who's helping us with it, but you have to jump through hoops.
Is this
Financially, this is with the Charities Commission.
Okay, yeah.
We are what they call a CIO, which is not a fully registered one, so we don't have a registered number, but it does mean that we've got some credibility. You know, we are recognised. But if we are going to get the sponsorship that we really want to do what we want to do in the future, and Paul's got ideas of perhaps opening one or more of these gardens around the country so that soldiers can visit from much closer to their home.
Yes.
We need some decent sponsors.
Sure.
And to get that, you've got to have credibility, and to get the credit, to have credibility, you need to be fully registered.
Yes, yes.
We keep thinking perhaps if we had a celebrity on board, we might.
You can't take this long, surely. We're looking for a comedian. So, you're
well,
out there,
who knows?
please come.
Who knows? Yeah, yeah.
And then the other priority is, as we've just been talking about, it's to let everybody know that we exist and get them to come and visit. Come and visit.
Yes, because that's the whole purpose of the
Yes.
garden being
Yeah.
there, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it just sounds fabulous. So don't delay, folks, especially as soon as we get a bit of sunshine, we've got to make the best of it in this country, haven't we? So get down to Holmbury St Mary. And then much longer term, you say that you're thinking about, if it's possible, having other gardens in other areas.
Oh, it will be possible.
Yeah,
Even
right.
if I do it myself,
Yeah.
I'll be approaching different councils.
Yeah.
The thing is what we've created in Holmbury, it's okay for if you're local. We have
Yes.
loads of people coming from Kent, so that's a long way to come. But there's people all over the country, soldiers, ex-servicemen, that need help. But the help that I'm trying to give is that open space, and the camaraderie that we had then is still here. And there's guys out there that will still all stick together. So the thing is really is to take it up the country, like the spine of England, and then so that people from left and right of the country can come visit. We'll open as many as we think is necessary. But saying all that, it's got to be the right place. This is not just go and find a park and build something. If it doesn't have that feeling, then it's no good. The first one took me 2.5 years. I just hope the second one doesn't take that long.
Yeah.
But no, the idea is the soldiers' surgery will develop. It is a new way of hopefully, and I'm sure it does, of helping the servicemen and the women come to terms with what they've experienced. Not just the young ones, but the elderly gentlemen as well, and the ladies. It's there for everybody. And if the locals wish to visit and see what we went through and what they've gone through, it's a learning curve. So this is just the beginning, and it's certainly not the end. And that I can promise.
It might be the end of the beginning, though.
That's right.
As they say, yes. No, I love that optimism where I said if, you instantly went, no, it will happen, which is fantastic.
It will.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
That's right.
Yeah.
If I can't raise the funds personally, then I'll approach every council and I'll beg, steal and borrow until we can do it. It's I have this real feeling of an office, a doctor's surgery is not a place a soldier wants to be.
Absolutely not, no.
And I want, when I'm in my place, I know how much better it makes me feel, and I know that if I can help anybody out there, just even if it's just one, then everything's been worth it. All the money has been worth it. But I want to make it that special place that people all over the country can come and visit and see the new soldiers' surgery, the new way of sort of looking at saying, I don't have to have all these pills.
Yes.
I can go home to my family happy and enjoy their company, not be stressed out about what you've done, seen, and maybe done. The thing is come and talk to us, because we've all been through it, every single one of us. And the more people that we have to talk about, it makes us feel better.
Yeah.
So it's not me. There's thousands of these youngsters out there now that are suffering. So the thing is, I want our surgery to help them, so they're better people. And if they think they don't have a problem, they've got a shock coming, really have. But it comes in later years. But come and talk to us. That's all we say. Come see what we've achieved and what we're trying to achieve. And we will be all over the country. Don't know when, don't know if I'm still be here, but the charity will make sure that happens.
That's a fantastic message there, and I think it's such a powerful thing when you share an experience with someone who's been through very similar circumstances. Nothing is as positive as that. Talking, as you say, to a doctor and being given pills to suppress the emotions or the feelings it's not respectful of what you've been through either, really, is it? So to be able to go somewhere where you can sit, relax, be at one with nature, contemplate things, but know that there is somebody there perhaps not literally to hold your hand, but at least to listen and who understands, who has been through very similar circumstances.
The people that are there will be the people that have been there as well.
Yeah.
We will hopefully be able to employ ex-soldiers. I can't get around to all of them, but ex-soldiers will be maintaining the gardens. These guys will have experienced what the others have been through. So there'll always be someone there for them, just to listen, talk to, and if they need help, like I said earlier, we're there to help. There's nothing, no long-winded red tape that you have to go through. You ask us, okay, I'm a soldier, others are soldiers, if you need help, we're there for you.
Yeah,
And that's really what charity is all about. It's
Indeed.
not for me to judge.
Yeah.
So if you need help, come see us.
Fantastic. So let's go through how to get in touch with you again. It is firstly the Facebook page. Which is the Queen's Memorial Garden. And then the website, if you just want to go on and have a look at the website, is www.queensmemorialgarden.co.uk. If you'd like to telephone, it's 0777 887 3806. If you would prefer to email, it's debbiehornblow@yahoo.co.uk. Okay, those contact details will be up on the View From Here blog on the Radio Woking website so that you can double check them. They will be there in case you didn't have a pen handy. Debbie and Paul, I want to thank you so much for coming in, for telling us, updating us in all the exciting news. I mean, even though I have followed much of it through Facebook, it's just so wonderful to speak to you face to face and to hear it from you directly.
Well, it's lovely of you to invite us back, Sharon, and it's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
And I hope that we put more words out there for people to listen to.
Absolutely, yes.
But thank you very much.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you for coming in. So that has been The View From Here this Sunday, and we'll be back again, of course, next week, which is the 5th of July already.